an analysis of what we've derived and what the lay of the land is all about, then it silences the meeting and we automatically becomes the enemy because we highlight what they do. Multiple Kuch, for argument's sake, won't get involved here because necessarily of their families or of the formal businesses that in here. So we're dealing with long arms, deep pockets, and two sections that also don't speak to one another. That side of the road don't speak to this side of the road when it comes to formal business. Because for argument's sake, Melomed and life are not necessarily.
But the focus must be government, city government that is dealing with a city that's got an unemployment problem, and you've got entrepreneurs who are making a living through what they call informal trading, and which I prefer to call small scale trading. And you don't have a government that is supportive. You have a government that is clamping down, threatening. The permit system doesn't work properly. I mean, so it's all the red tape that you have to go through in order to operate your small scale trading site is ridiculous compared to what a formal business has to go through, and or a large scale business, a bigger business. And so my frustration, and I think the way that things could be done different, is if your informal settlement or informal trading department, had an economic development outlook,
Yes.
where they are supporting you to trade in a way that enables you to trade without all these obstacles
And grow.
So, the tension between the formal businesses is not where I want to focus. I want to understand why the city and the government is not encouraging, supporting, incubating, making sure that your trading opportunities are maximized.
Greg,
Because that's
I'm going to answer you that. I'm going to answer you that. And we raised this in an Athlon meeting where we said we understand that the contribution from formal business versus our contribution are substantially different. I mean, the capex input of a formal business. So we understand that they necessarily contribute better, far more to the city's coffers than we do, but it doesn't necessarily afford them to get a different seat at the table. And that is where the correlation can't get together.
I wouldn't even accept that argument, because it's not about the contribution to the city's revenue. It's about the contribution to the sustainability of the city. And I mean, you can go to the World Bank study. The World Bank said that if South Africa had the same level of entrepreneurship as our peer countries that are developing countries, we would halve our unemployment rate.
Yeah. Yes.
So these are entrepreneurs. And so their contribution to the city's revenue is not the measurement. The contribution must be to the development of entrepreneurship, the fact that they can employ one or two people to help them in operating their stores, and maybe their store can grow if they had support from a government that was economically development focused. So you can't measure what contribution a small scale trader is making compared to a business that occupies a building, because the contribution must be measured in terms of the contribution to the development of people, not the development of revenue in the city's banking.
I one last thing, just it is after all policy and bylaws that governs in environment. So here we find there's a double standard of both policy and bylaws, and unfortunately it once again directs back to formal business and what they do with the rental of their properties and how the law don't get applied, how people live in the very properties that they work in. So if the letter of the law must be applied, then we ask for the letter of the law to be applied equally across the board without the ones that contribute more than have an influence greater than we have in their favor. That is basically what we're asking for, because